Hey guys, Enders here, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going up a bit of a surprise update. Battlefield 2042 update 3.2.1, which I like to think of it as sort of a band-aid update for some of the things that they added in update 3.2. And as I go through the update, I think a lot of you will see why I say it's sort of a band-aid update. So let's just get right into the stuff. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, and of course subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on. I post regularly, and I stream every single day at twitch.tv/enders. Drop my channel a follow, link in the description. Just to avoid any confusion up front, this update is not released yet. It will be releasing next week. I'd assume Tuesday. That is when they typically release updates for Battlefield 2042. In the beginning section of this update, they state that update 3.2.1 is actually the last planned update until the release of Season 4. So it looks as though we'll have to wait about 3 to 4 weeks before we get Season 4 and any other changes coming to the game. Moving on to the changes that have happened in this patch, the Javelin and the Tracer Dart combo has been nerfed, and rightfully so. It was fundamentally overpowered. You could lock onto anything in the game with ease from over 450 meters away. It made air vehicles almost impossible to fly with any sort of a coordinated team. And no, the argument, nobody was using this, so it's not overpowered, is not valid. Just because no one is using it doesn't mean it's not incredibly strong. It just means that Battlefield players don't typically actually work together, which is, of course, absolutely nothing new for the Battlefield franchise. The changes to the Javelin were the Javelin can no longer lock onto the Tracer Dart while the Dart is out of line of sight. The Tracer Dart gun has seen some more numerous changes, though. The Tracer Dart will now correctly have bullet drop applied to it depending on how far it is traveling. They reduced the projectile speed of the Tracer Dart from 500 meters a second to 250 meters a second, so they cut that in half, which is a fairly substantial nerf. And the biggest nerf of all, in my opinion, the uptime of the Tracer Dart has been reduced from 40 seconds to only 12 seconds. Basically what they're doing is they're making sure that if you're using the Javelin plus Tracer Dart, you're coordinated. Because make no mistake, this combination is still extremely strong when you're using it with a coordinated friend, but this just ensures that it's not as brain dead to use. Moving on to the soldier section, they fixed an issue regarding the assault rifle sprint to fire time. It was much longer than normal, and it was being complained about by, I think, almost everyone that used assault rifles, so that is great to see that fixed. They also fixed an issue where the auto-deploy of the parachute did not function properly, and this change here sort of flew under the radar, but it's incredibly important. The assault weapon proficiency, the one that allows you to have 3 extra magazines when using an assault rifle with the assault class, was applying that same proficiency to the underbarrel grenade launcher ammo types, which means that right now, if you go use the SCAR, it actually has double the intended ammo count per grenade type, which means that you can have a total of 18 total grenades. You can actually solo kill a tank by yourself with the armor-piercing grenades. So thankfully, that is being fixed within this patch. Moving on to the specialist section, Angel with an extremely interesting fix. They fixed an issue that would allow players to select any gadget with any specialist via Angel's loadout crate. For Crawford, the mounted Vulcan has seen some insane buffs. They increased the health of it by 60%. It's still very vulnerable to things like grenades and rocket launchers, but to small arms fire, you might not want to peek Crawford so errantly. Another change to Crawford, the mounted Vulcan now lasts 7 seconds from the moment it begins firing to reaching its overheat point. And finally, players can no longer place down up to 4 mounted Vulcan miniguns at one time. I was actually not aware of this, but now they've reduced it to 1. Before we get into the weapons section, if you're enjoying the video, hit the like button, and of course subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on. I post stuff like this when every single update comes out for Battlefield 2042. Now, the weapons section has some of the most important changes of this entire update. As part of the recent, update 3.2, they sort of messed with the aiming down sights time for drum and extended magazines. They are reverting that in this update. They go on to provide their reasoning here. Your feedback to change these attachments suggested having slower reload times or less overall ammo due to the reduced magazine count. These are very valid areas to look at. However, we believe those two would not compensate for the greater increase in combat uptime that these attachments give you. With a shorter magazine, you have to pick your fights while weaving in and out of combat against multiple enemies, prioritizing targets based on awareness or proximity. With larger magazines, such as the case with drum and extended magazines, this overhead disappears as you have the luxury of less reloading and more ammo availability. Then they go on to ask for your further feedback. I have to take direct issue with that paragraph there. Combat uptime, let's focus on that. So they're worried about extended magazine combat uptime. Let me ask you something. Are you worried about the light machine gun combat uptime? I still haven't seen a response from this from DICE. The LMGs are 200 round ARs with near unlimited combat uptime. You are almost never going to use 200 bullets continuously in one firefight. What about that combat uptime, DICE? Is that not a problem? Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but this game is 128 players. So you're doubling the player count on the enemy team in some of these game modes, but you're worried about giving people like 10 to 15 extra bullets for ARs or submachine guns? I legitimately do not understand. So while, yes, they are completely reverting the changes they made in Update 3.2, they still seem to have some fairly poorly rooted concerns about extended and drum magazines in Battlefield 2042. Now, last but not least, some very specific weapon changes that could actually shift the meta of the entire game. The MTAR-21 and the PP-2000 that were added in Update 3.2 are both getting significantly buffed. The MTAR, they've adjusted the recoil to be more in line with the other assault rifles. If you use the MTAR, it definitely had some pretty crazy horizontal recoil. Hopefully that will be toned down a little bit. And they've also increased the damage up to 40 meters from 18 to 22. This means that the MTAR will now be a 5 bullet to kill out to 40 meters. So those changes sound pretty good for the MTAR, but the PP-2000 change is absolutely unhinged. Let me just read this verbatim to you. Let me see if you can figure out why this is crazy, and then I'll explain it. PP-2000 damage increased up to 50 meters from 22 to 28. I'm sure some of you instantly got that, but for the people that don't know why that's insane, the PP-2000 now beats the SCAR in straight up 1v1 time to kill within 50 meters. In a single update, DICE has managed to take the PP-2000 from a mediocre SMG to one of the best guns in the game, and it actually out-TTKs the best AR in the game in straight 1v1 combat. And I'll just throw some numbers out here for you guys so you understand. The PP-2000 kills faster than the SCAR within 50 meters because it shoots 50 rounds a minute faster. The PP-2000 shoots at 650 rounds a minute. The SCAR shoots at 600. So I'm really not sure what these weapon designers are doing over there, but they've literally taken the PP-2000 and just made it one of the best ARs in the game, and it's not in the AR category. That being said, the SCAR still has a substantially better headshot multiplier than the PP-2000, but if we're talking straight up body shot TTK, you will be losing fights to the PP-2000 at ridiculous ranges now. That is going to do it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. If you made it to this point, I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on. I upload regularly. I'm actually posting shorts regularly now. I have seen some very positive feedback about that, and I stream every single day on twitch.tv/enders. Link is in the description. Drop me a follow, and of course, follow my Twitter just to keep up to date with the latest arguments I'm getting into, because that's always great, and I'll see you guys later.